Before the J.P. Morgan bombshell on Wall Street today, stocks had snapped a six-day losing streak that seems almost assured to be reinstituted. The Dow Jones Industrials finishing up 20 points, the S&P up 3, the Nasdaq lost a point again. Investors welcoming a slight dip in jobless claims by 1,000 down to 367,000. I think it's important to note that this is the 16th week in which there was a revision higher in the previous week, which resulted in these numbers falling by 2,000 from the revised level. I'm not saying, nor is anyone on this network suggesting that there is purposeful, manipulation of numbers, but there are some odd series of coincidences. Cisco today, the biggest drag on the market, shares of the technology bellwether dropping more than 10% at forecast profits below Wall Street targets. And President Obama trying to keep the conversation, it appears, centered on anything but his record. The effects of his policies becoming clearer by the day. The number of people on food stamps up 70% since he took office. Federal spending for the program rising to $78 billion last year, up 135% in the same time frame. President Obama celebrating a victory of sorts with the falling unemployment rate at 8.1%, the lowest unemployment rate since the month the president took office. Nearly 8 million people, however, have left the workforce since he took office. Women hit particularly hard, by the way. The Labor Department reporting that 324,000 women have stopped looking for work in just the past 2 months, leaving a record 53.5 million on the outside. Meanwhile, House Budget Committee Chairman Congressman Paul Ryan celebrating a hollow victory of sorts. The House passing a Republican-backed budget plan that spares the military from mandatory cuts. But this plan isn't going anywhere. Let us be clear about that. Defense Secretary Leon Panetta, who would benefit from the Republican plan, said almost as much.
The guaranteed results will be confrontation, gridlock, and a greater likelihood of sequester. Again, the key is to work together.
Well, joining me now for more on the economy, gay marriage, and the debate around it, the impact that those issues will have, if any, on the presidential election, Fox News political analyst Juan Williams. Juan, great to have you with us here. Let's turn first to this effort by the United States Congress, this president, to disengage from what had been a mutual assured result, which is that they would cut $1.2 trillion if they couldn't reach agreement. They didn't. They did. Here they are trying to escape their own judgments.
You know, Luke, after listening to your first segment on what's going on with J.P. Morgan, it's just, it's scary because I think everybody now worries. We already have a fragile economy. You look at what's happening on Wall Street, and then you come here to Washington and you look at the budget situation. You know that we are approaching right now a situation that goes well beyond the kind of games and posturing that you saw on Capitol Hill today, where you had one side, the Republicans, saying, oh, we can avoid severe cuts to the Defense Department if you simply adopt our budget, knowing full well that the Democrats who control the Senate will never play this game, and instead are insisting that they come forward with requisite increases in revenue, also known as tax hikes, Lou. And meanwhile, you have everybody kind of presenting or positioning themselves as if on a chessboard heading towards the post-election phase, when we're going to have to deal with the serious questions about unemployment benefits, about the payroll tax cut being expiration, the Bush tax cuts expiration, and sequestration that would have this draconian impact on the defense spending budget. These are major economic obstacles. I'm not trying to scare anybody. I'm just telling you this is a bad situation, and it doesn't matter who wins or loses the election.
Yeah, and I don't think anyone would infer that you're trying to scare. They understand clearly on this broadcast you're trying to inform, and doing so, as usually, eloquently. The idea that we would in any way, and by the way, I'm so proud of you, our entire Washington staff, because this network, Fox News, is not playing the kabuki game that others are. and acting as if there was some superior position between these two parties right now, because in Washington, D.C., they both have a great deal to be embarrassed about.
Yeah, it's paralysis here. They're not getting anything done at a moment when the country needs leadership and guidance, especially in terms of the economic terrain. I mean, going back to last year when it was, as again, a result of Washington inaction and all sorts of chicken games, you know, that led the credit rating to be downgraded. Now we're in a situation again where at a moment when guidance is needed. Just think about what you were talking about a moment ago, the failure of the Fed, the administration, to speak quickly and try to reassure the markets going in, not only overseas, but going into tomorrow here in the U.S. about this Chase situation. They won't even say a word. Where's the leadership, Lou?
Well, I suppose that they are where they have been for, well, some time now, unfortunately.
Sad.
Well, thanks for being here. Good to have you here.
Good to
Juan
see you,
Williams.
Lou.